All right, so for those of you fascinated by stories that kind of blur the line between reality and something a little more extraordinary.
Yeah, something that makes you question if there's maybe more to the world than we can see.
Exactly. You know, those stories that make you go, maybe there's something to this whole unseen world thing.
Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into one of those stories.
A story recounted by Sri Yukteswar Giri in his Autobiography of a Yogi.
It's about a 19th century figure named Afzal Khan.
This guy could seemingly bend reality to his will.
We're going to unpack his story,
the nature of his powers, and what it all means for our understanding of, the unseen world.
It's fascinating because this story comes from a respected spiritual figure.
Oh, absolutely. Sri Yukteswar wasn't someone who, made things up.
Right. So when he talks about Afzal Khan's powers, it makes you stop and think, maybe there's something to this.
For sure. And to set the stage, we're talking about 19th century India.
A time and place steeped in spiritual traditions.
And this is where our story begins with a young Afzal Khan.
Just a boy, really.
Having a life-altering encounter with a wandering Hindu yogi.
It was a chance meeting?
The kind that seems orchestrated by fate,
This yogi Dusty from his travels asks young Afzal for some water.
A simple request, right?
You'd think so. But Afzal, being a devout Muslim, hesitates.
Oh, right, because of the religious difference.
Exactly. He's not sure if it's okay to offer a drink to someone outside his faith.
So what happens next?
Well, instead of being offended, the yogi actually commends Afzal for his honesty.
Interesting.
Yeah, he recognizes a pure heart.
A yearning for something more, beyond just dogma.
Now, this is where the story gets interesting.
Lay it on me.
The yogi, impressed by Afzal's sincerity, decides to share a secret yoga technique with him.
Okay, we're not talking about your typical, breathing exercises here.
No, not at all. This technique, according to the yogi, unlocks access to a hidden realm.
Whoa, hold on, a hidden realm.
Yes, a realm of thought and energy known as the astral plane.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Think of it this way. Have you ever woken from a really vivid dream?
You mean the kind that feels super real?
Yes, exactly. And you wonder if maybe it was more than just a dream.
Or like when you experience a moment of intense emotion where it feels like you're tapping into something bigger than yourself.
Precisely, those could be glimpses into the astral plane.
Okay, so this astral plane, this hidden realm, you're saying it might not be as far-fetched as it sounds.
Right. We might be interacting with it more than we realize.
So according to yogic philosophy, what is this astral plane exactly?
It's where thoughts and desires take shape, where emotions reverberate, and get this, where thoughts and desires can actually manifest into the physical world.
Hold up, so you're saying this yogi is teaching young Afzal how to tap into this power?
The ability to interact with the astral plane,
yeah,
and potentially manifest things in the physical world.
Wow, my mind is officially blown. What happens next?
Well, like any good teacher, the yogi gives Afzal a warning.
What does he say?
He tells him to use these powers for good and to avoid letting his, darker impulses take root.
It's like he can see the potential for misuse in Afzal's future.
And that foreshadowing is going to come back in a big way, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so fast forward 20 years. Afzal has been practicing this yoga technique.
Diligently, I might add.
And what do you know? The powers start to kick in.
It starts subtly. Objects he touches begin to disappear and reappear elsewhere.
Wait, like he's a walking magic show?
There's definitely a mischievous element to his early displays of power.
I can only imagine the chaos.
He's kind of testing the boundaries of his abilities, playing pranks on unsuspecting victims.
But there's no malice in his actions yet, right?
Not at this stage, at least. But then things start to escalate.
Oh boy, here we go.
Sri Yukteswar tells a story about Afzal causing a scene at a railway station.
A scene? How so?
He buys tickets for himself, and his entourage touches them briefly, and then tells the clerk he changed his mind and wants a refund.
Okay.
The clerk, confused, checks the tickets, and they're gone, vanished.
No way.
And later that day, guess what?
They're on the train.
Yep. Tickets seemingly reappearing as if by magic.
It's like he's playing a cosmic game of hide and seek with reality.
And while there's still that playful element, we start to see a hint of the potential for these powers to be misused.
It makes you wonder what happens when someone with this kind of ability decides to use it for personal gain.
That's a question we're going to explore further because Afzal's story is about to take a dramatic turn.
Now remember Sri Yukteswar, the author of the book we're deep diving into.
He actually had a personal encounter with Afzal Khan.
An encounter that revealed both the awe-inspiring potential and the dangerous allure of these powers.
Sri Yukteswar was a young spiritual seeker at the time.
Okay.
He'd heard stories about Afzal Khan's miracles and decided to attend a gathering where Afzal was going to perform.
So he was curious, but also a little cautious, I'm guessing.
Very much so. He chose not to wear anything valuable just in case.
Smart move. So picture this. You're Sri Yukteswar sitting in a room overlooking the Ganges River, surrounded by a crowd buzzing with anticipation.
The air is thick with excitement and a touch of apprehension.
And Afzal Khan, the Wonder-Worker, is about to take center stage.
The stage is set for a display of power that will challenge everything Sri Yukteswar thought he knew about reality.
It sounds intense.
We're about to witness a series of increasingly impressive feats, culminating in a lavish feast that materializes out of thin air and then vanishes without a trace.
But within this spectacle, there are subtle hints of a darker side, foreshadowing the karmic consequences that await Afzal Khan.
And then that's where we'll pick up the story in the next part of our deep dive.
We'll delve into the specific miracles Afzal performed at this gathering, the growing unease of the witnesses, and the turning point that sets him on a path towards his ultimate downfall.
Welcome back. Before we get to the events of that Panthea house,
Right.
let's just take a second to think about what Afzal Khan's powers really mean.
Yeah, specifically that ability to, make things appear and disappear like that.
Exactly. Such a fascinating idea that we could actually bend the laws of physics,
Like we could just make things happen with our minds.
Right. And what's even more interesting is how it all connects to the astral plane, that hidden realm we were talking about.
The realm of thought and energy, right?
Yes, exactly. Imagine a dimension where thoughts aren't just fleeting things, but powerful forces.
Forces that can actually shape reality. That's wild.
That's the essence of the astral plane, a realm where everything we desire, everything we fear, all our aspirations, it all exists as pure energy just swirling around, interacting in ways we can't even begin to understand.
So you're saying that Afzal Khan, through this yoga technique, learned to tap into the astral plane and basically use it to manifest his will in the physical world.
That's the theory. And it's not just some random idea. It's a concept that pops up in all these different spiritual traditions.
Like what?
Well, think about mystics who levitate, or shamans who talk to spirits, or healers who channel energy to, heal people.
Right.
All these things that seem miraculous, they could be explained by the astral plane and how it affects our reality.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connections here, but let's get back to the story.
Right, Sri Yukteswar, sitting there in that crowd, is about to witness firsthand just how powerful Afzal Khan really is.
What happens next?
Well, the first miracle is actually pretty simple. It's a demonstration of teleportation.
Okay.
Afzal tells Sri Yukteswar to find a stone, write his name on it, and throw it into the Ganges.
The Ganges River, wow.
Yes, and Sri Yukteswar, being the careful observer he was, follows the instructions to a T.
So he throws the stone in the river.
The stone sinks beneath the currents, disappears.
And then...
Afzal asks for a pot of water from the Ganges.
Okay.
He holds it in his hands, closes his eyes for a moment as if he's concentrating, and then calls out to Hazrat, that unseen force that seems to do his bidding, and all of a sudden splash the stone with Sri Yukteswar's name on it, appears in the pot of water.
Hold on, he teleported a stone from the river into a pot of water just like that.
Just like that.
That's incredible and a little creepy if you ask me. I mean, if he can do that with a stone, what else is he capable of?
That's exactly the question that starts creeping into everyone's minds.
Right.
The mood shifts, the awe turns into a little bit of fear, maybe some distrust.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And this is where another guest, a man named Babu, comes into the picture.
Bubba? Okay.
Now remember, Sri Yukteswar was smart. He didn't wear anything valuable.
Right.
Well, Babu didn't quite get the memo.
What did he have?
A heavy gold watch and chain, a family heirloom, a very valuable piece.
And Afzal is drawn to it.
Whether out of mischief or maybe something a little darker, he decides to use Babu for his next demonstration.
So he steals the watch?
Not exactly. He doesn't physically take it.
Wow.
He just touches the watch.
I know it.
Moments later, it's gone, poof, vanished into thin air.
No way.
Babu is frantic. He searches everywhere, but the watch is nowhere to be found.
I bet the mood in that room just plummeted.
Absolutely. The awe and wonder is replaced by fear and distrust.
And here's where we start to see the karmic implications of Afzal Khan's actions.
Remember the yogi's warning, use your powers for good.
Right up until this point, his actions were mostly harmless pranks.
Exactly. But stealing a valuable heirloom that crosses a line.
Even if it's with magic powers, it sets a bad example.
It does. So what happens next?
Does Babu get his watch back?
Oh, he gets it back, but not for free?
What do you mean?
Afzal cool as a cucumber, tells Babu he'll tell him where the watch is for 500 rupees.
He ransoms the watch back to him. That's cold.
It is. Babu is desperate, so he rushes home, gets the money, and comes back practically begging for the watch.
What does Afzal do?
He tells Babu to go to a nearby bridge and call out to Hazrat.
Wait, he sends him on a wild goose chase?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But Babu follows the instructions. The watch appears out of thin air, lands right in his hand.
No way.
Babu rushes home, locks the watch in his safe, and vows never to go to another gathering like that again.
I don't blame him. It must have been terrifying. I mean, think of the emotions, the shock, the desperation, the relief, and then probably just this lingering distrust of Afzal Khan.
It's a turning point in the story. The audience is no longer fully captivated by the spectacle.
Right. They've seen how these powers can be misused.
They've seen the good and the bad, and the line between them is getting blurry.
So what happens next? Does this show go on?
It does, but the atmosphere is different. You can feel the tension. Afzal tries to lighten the mood by offering to conjure up drinks for everyone.
Drinks like he's a cosmic bartender.
Something like that. He asks each guest what they want. Most people ask for milk or juice.
Sensible.
But Babu, still shaken up from what happened, asks for something a little stronger.
Oh, what does he ask for?
Whiskey.
Whiskey. I guess he needed a stiff drink after all that.
Maybe so. And suddenly, sealed containers of all these different drinks come sailing down from the ceiling.
Whoa.
Landing gently at each guest's feet. It's another impressive display. But the joy and wonder is gone.
Right, it's all tainted by what they just witnessed.
Exactly. And that brings us to the grand finale, the most extravagant display of Afzal Khan's powers.
I'm on the edge of my seat. What is it?
The conjuring of a feast.
A feast?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell me more.
Babu, maybe trying to make up for losing the 500 rupees, suggests they order the most lavish dishes served on gold plates, no less.
Gold plates talk about extravagance.
Right, it's like he wants to push Afzal to the limit, and Afzal, eager to impress, agrees without hesitation.
So he's basically catering to their desire for luxury. Not exactly a spiritual move, is it?
Not really. But it makes for a dramatic ending. Afzal calls upon Hazrat.
Ooh.
The room is filled with the sound of gold platters crashing to the floor, overflowing with the most incredible food you can imagine.
A feast fit for a king, just appearing out of nowhere.
I have a feeling this isn't going to end well.
Well, you know how the story goes. As they're about to leave the room, there's a sudden crash, everyone gasps, and then silence.
The food disappears.
Gone without a trace, the gold plates, the leftovers, everything vanishes.
It's like a metaphor.
Right.
You know, all that opulence, and then poof, it's gone. A reminder that material things don't last.
And a reminder that these powers, while impressive, shouldn't be taken lightly. As the guests leave, they must be wondering what Afzal Khan really is. Is he a holy man, a conduit for divine grace?
Or is he something else entirely, someone who's tapped into a dangerous force that could destroy him?
That's the question that lingers as we head into the final part of our deep dive.
We'll explore Street Discourse explanation of Afzal Khan's abilities, the consequences that catch up with him, and the spiritual lessons we can learn from this extraordinary tale. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Afzal Khan.
We've seen his incredible powers, the awe he inspired, and then that shift, you know, when things started to get a little darker.
Right, it's easy to get caught up in all the fantastical elements, the disappearing objects, the lavish feasts. But there's a deeper meaning here.
So it's not just a story about a guy with superpowers, it's about something more profound.
Exactly, it's a reflection of the human condition, you know, the struggle we all face between our higher aspirations and those, you know, those temptations.
So Afzal Khan, he was given this incredible gift, but instead of using it for good, he gets seduced by power, by material wealth, by the need for attention.
And that's where karma comes into play. It's not about punishment from some higher power. It's about the natural consequences of our actions.
What goes around comes around, right?
Exactly. Sri Yukteswar, in his analysis of Afzal Khan's abilities, he makes a distinction between those who use power for selfish reasons and those who act from a higher purpose.
So it's not just about being able to do these incredible things, it's about why you're doing them.
Right. It's the difference between using power to control and manipulate versus using it to serve and uplift others.
Okay, that makes sense, but it raises a question for me. How do we cultivate that kind of power in our own lives?
It starts with self-awareness, paying attention to our thoughts or motivations, you know, really examining the impact we have on others.
It's like constantly checking in with yourself. Are my actions coming from a place of love or fear? Am I helping others or just trying to get ahead?
Exactly. It's a lifelong process, you know, refining our intentions, aligning our actions with our values.
Let's be real, it's easy to lose sight of that higher purpose amidst all the chaos of daily life.
That's why it's so important to cultivate a practice of introspection, whether it's through meditation or journaling or just taking a few moments to reflect on our values.
Surrounding yourself with people who inspire you.
Right, exactly. People who embody the qualities you want to cultivate in yourself.
It all comes back to that question we asked earlier. If you had the power to manifest anything, even for a little while, what would you do?
Would you use it for personal gain, or would you use it to help others?
It's a real test of character, isn't it? It reveals what's truly in our hearts.
And that's the most powerful lesson we can learn from Afzal Khan's story. True power doesn't come from bending the world to our will. It comes from mastering ourselves, aligning our thoughts and our intentions with a purpose that's bigger than our own ego.
The world is full of mysteries, forces we may never fully understand, but the greatest adventure is the journey of self-discovery.
Unfolding our own potential for wisdom, for compassion, for connection to something beyond ourselves.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore those unseen realms that exist both within us and around us.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe.
Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.